Hey. Busted. Should you be revising? If you're going to be watching YouTube videos instead of revising or working, then we might as well make this useful and therefore guilt-free. I'm going to teach you how to revise like Sherlock. Okay guys, first of all, and bear with me, I want you to close your eyes. And no peeping, there's nothing to see here, I promise. I want you to think of the door to your house. Picture it, picture standing by it, look at the letterbox, look at the doorbell, and then I want you to take your key out, I want you to put it in the lock and then enter your house. As you stand in the entrance of your home, look around you. What can you see? Where does the hallway lead? Can you see the lounge? Can you see the kitchen? When you think you've done that, I want you to walk to your kitchen. I want you to picture your table, a kitchen table, or perhaps this is a dining room table. Again, look around it. How many chairs are there? What's on the kitchen table? Look around you. Where is the nearest light source? Now you have that firmly pictured in your mind. I want you to imagine an extremely obese man sat on your table. He is so heavy, the table is about to snap under his weight. He is perspiring, there are beads of sweat over him, and the only thing he's wearing is a pair of white Y-fronts and a red cloak. But on that red cloak that is stained with food, there is a gold insignia, a shield, just on his right side. And on this shield is a gleaming gold tarantula. This is his emblem. On his head, he's wearing a pair of thick, magnifying glasses. And when you look closely into his eyes, you can see his brain vessels popping. On the table in front of him is a bowling ball of ham. And in his left hand is a bloody cleaver. And he is hacking away at this bowling ball ham. He has a toy red car, but in this car there is a terrified looking kitten who is cowering away from the man. Now, we'll come back to that later. In the BBC drama Sherlock, Sherlock Holmes, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, often resorts to his enviable crime-solving trick, his mind palace, which is a place in his mind crammed with all of the information that Holmes thinks is worth remembering. It turns out that a mind palace is a real thing. It all began when a Greek poet, Simonides, I think I'm saying that right, luckily escaped a collapsing banquet hall. When asked, he found that he could perfectly remember all of the people who were squashed inside the hall by visualising where they were sat inside the space. He later made less of a morbid use of this technique by storing bits of information he needed to remember along well-known routes and paths that he walked often. This technique of memory based on location later became known as the method of a loci, or a mind palace, memory palace. As we know, Sherlock has a mind palace, and we got a glimpse of what it looks like in the episode His Last Vow, when he was shot at point blank. We see him stumbling down a winding staircase into a morgue-like room where he finds his friend Molly Hooper, and she says, "It's all very well and clever having a mind palace, but you only have 3 seconds of consciousness left to use it." We then see him go into different rooms and locations of his mind palace and carefully picks out memories that help him stay alive, but I'm not going to go into too much information because, you know, spoilers. So you've seen Sherlock's, but how do you create your own memory palace to help with all of this revision? Firstly, decide the location of your memory palace. It's best if this is somewhere you know intimately, be that your house or your bedroom. If you want, you could make up your own dream memory palace and make it as grand as you want it to be. It's just this takes a bit more practice. Next, familiarize yourself with your palace. Close your eyes and walk through the space. Where does everything lead to? Get your brain used to seeing every door, room and cupboard. Now we need to start storing things, and it's important you do this in a way that best makes sense to you. If you're studying your GCSEs and you have multiple subjects, it might be that you want to dedicate a room in your palace to each subject, or you might want to be more specific. Let's say you're studying geography, you might want to put weather systems in your freezer and river systems in your bath. This is the fun bit. Take that bite-sized bit of information that you need to remember, and I want you to break it down into a series of images. These images need to make a picture, and the more obscene this picture, the better. I want you to make make it extreme, magnify it, make it tiny, make it sexy, but it has to be silly. Your brain is far better at memorizing the absurd than it is the boring texts and facts that you might be looking at in your textbook. It might take a little bit of practice at first, but you'll find the more and more you do it, creating these visuals will become a lot easier, and it's actually really fun. When you've got this picture, I want you to place it inside your home, somewhere where it makes sense to you. Take a step back and look at it in your mind, close your eyes and look at it from a distance. When you're ready and you think you've got that picture firmly in your mind, walk away, walk out your mind palace door and lock the door. Earlier in this video, I asked you to picture an obese man sat on your kitchen table in your home. Now, you might find it interesting that this fat man is actually Henry VIII. Henry VIII was obese, so I've just exaggerated it by making him enormous. And I wanted to remember his 6 wives, so this is how I did it. Firstly, he was wearing a red cloak, and on that cloak was a gold insignia of a tarantula. Tarantulas make me think of Aragog from Harry Potter. Aragog makes me think of Aragon, so I remember Catherine of Aragon. He was also wearing a pair of thick magnifying glasses, and you could see his brain vessels popping. Brain sounds like Jane, and as he was staring intently at the ham on the table, it makes me think of Seymour, so I've got Jane Seymour. On the table there was a bowling ball made of ham. Ham sounds like Anne in my head, and Boleyn sounds like bowling ball, hence why I've got a ham bowling ball, and he's hacking it with a bloody cleaver. The cleaver and the ham make me think of Anne of Cleves. Finally, in his other hand is a toy car with a terrified kitten inside it. The kitten makes me think of cat, therefore Catherine, and it's terrified, it's cowering, so I think of a coward, so that is Catherine Howard, and the fact it's a car just sounds like Parr, so I think of Catherine Parr. And that's how I did it. This picture and the links that I've made might not make any sense to you, but that's the point. You have to design your palace in your own way. And trust me, I'm never going to forget the names of Henry VIII's 6 wives. So have a go at your own mind palace, and I genuinely hope that it helps with your revision, or at least makes it a little bit more fun. And if you don't have the time to create a mind palace, at least use the method of extremes. Definitely try the visualization technique and just make it as silly and absurd as possible, because I promise you it definitely helps. If you have any quirky ways of remembering certain facts, then leave them in the comments below and perhaps we'll all learn something. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!